Boys is getting quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it cause we gotta finish. Nebraska Horn Hustlers, man, we diminish. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big Benz. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right. Welcome into Fullback U, and well deserved, but long overdue. Having my brother Bronson Irwin on. Bronson, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be here with you on the shortest day of the year, I guess. 23-hour day.
Yeah, I'm excited about. I think we get an extra hour of sleep, so I'm excited about that. Ran into you at my brother's basketball game. First, what's that been like? You've been working with my brother and my best friend, Lenny Hatch and Mike Dunn. Talk about that.
Yeah, you guys had my first year at Dale City this past football season, and had a lot of success and won a bunch of football games, won a playoff game for the first time in a long time there in Dale City, and play a tough schedule. The 6A2 schedule's is pretty tough. It's better competition than I thought it was going to be, but had a good time. Really enjoy working with Mike. I think he's a great guy, great staff. A lot of those guys, Jason Madonna and Rob Jones, and a bunch of guys that are talented and played football at a high level. So I've had a really good time working with those guys and kind of learning how they do stuff.
What else you got going on besides that?
Man, I work for a finance company out of California, and we do auto space type work. Just starting up a company that does LED lighting retrofits. We go into commercial buildings and redo their lighting and save them money and finance them and things like that. Website for that is greatplainsled.com if you want to check that out. Still doing the football training stuff that I've done for 4 or 5 years now. So working with let's see.
You're good at it.
Yeah, kid or two. I got Aidan Kelly right now. He's probably the top interior guy in this 2021 class. He's
a lot of offers so far. From
Thomas, TCU, Iowa State, Air Force, Tulsa, Arkansas State. So he's kind of on the map. He didn't have any offers when I met him in December or January. I think he's got 11 now. So he's definitely trending upward and getting some traction in the recruiting trail.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And then you're working with Dell City's line. Just talk about that. And then you're a big 6A guy, and hell, it seems like y'all got 2 6A juggernauts with Stillwater and Bigsby. Just talk about what it's going to take to overcome those guys.
Yeah, we don't have as much size as I may like, or as I may be used to, I guess. But tough kids that work hard and really do a good job of accepting coaching, and I think we made some strides developing some toughness and some resilience this year that maybe they hadn't quite had in the past, and ran the ball a little bit more than they're used to doing, which I think is good. Helps the defense get a little bit more of a break. But 6A2, we lost to Stillwater, we lost to Bigsby in the playoffs, and then we lost to Carl Albert, your alma mater, of course. Hoping to get them back this year. But it's a tough schedule. Our out-of-conference this year is Carl Albert, Booker T. Washington, and Bishop McGinnis. So we're not scared to play anybody, and if they want to play, we'll come meet them and play a football game and try to kick their tail, basically.
That's a tough 3, and I love the mentality of what you got. And let's talk about that, just where you came from, and obviously see the pictures back in the Mustang Broncos unis.
I know.
Talk about that. Yeah, you were
That's
young,
a throwback,
man.
right there, man.
Young baby face. Talk about that. Just some coaches that impacted you. I'm sure I know a few of those guys, and just what it was like at Mustang.
Yeah, I went to Mustang High, class of 2020, I guess. Graduated December 2009. I went to OU early. Gotcha. Coming off of at that time, Mustang was on a run. They played for the state championship in 2005, made the playoffs every year for, I don't know how many, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. At that point, 2008, my junior year, I think we won all 10 regular season games and lost in the semifinals to Jinx. Kind of ran into the buzzsaw there. I think we maybe could have got that one done, but, the past is the past. But played a lot of good football, played against a lot of good guys. Came out early, graduated early, kind of got a chance to play at OU, which is a place that I grew up going to games since I was a kid, as long as I can remember. I had a chance to go, to a lot of different places, but ended up kind of deciding to stay home for a handful of reasons, and ended up being a pretty good decision.
Yeah. Let's get into recruiting. You have this good career at Mustang, but wow, just undefeated regular season in Big 6A. I don't think it wasn't Big 6A back then. It was just 1-6A.
Yeah.
Doing that's really, really tough on the west side of the state and should be commended. Running into Jinx and Union and losing to those guys when you did is not nothing to be ashamed of.
Sure.
Why OU? We had just lost Kevin Wilson, so I'm assuming James Patton recruited you. Great guy. I love him to death. Talk about that, and then why you chose them over whoever you chose them over.
Yeah, so Wilson was actually there my first year, so I got 1 year of Wilson stories under my belt, or as they say that you're a graduate of the Kevin Wilson School of Sarcastic Assholes, I think is what they call it.
I love that.
But had a chance to go to visit Alabama and Texas Tech and Nebraska and all kind of the regional schools, and then Bama and Oregon on top of that, and ended up basically deciding that I was just kind of over the phone calls with Kerry Murdoch and those kind of guys, every night. Shout out to Kerry Murdoch, one of the best in the business, but it was every night, the rivals guy from Memphis, the rivals guy from Baylor, the rivals guy from whatever, and decided that OU is where I wanted to be. My family was actually in the process of adopting a child from China at the time, so wanted to be close when that was finalized, and then ended up actually happening like the second or third game of my freshman year. We actually got her, so was good to be here for that, and allowed my family to be able to go to all the games and all that fun stuff. But I remember when I when I had that discussion with my parents, I think this is what I'm going to do, kind of over the whole process. I'm not really a guy that likes to be, in the spotlight and doing all the interviews and all that stuff. I'd rather just, do my job and move on. And I remember I came to a spring practice, or I think it was a spring practice. It was like in April or March. And they finished up, and me and my dad and James, Patton were walking back to the locker room. And we ran into Bob, and I said, hey, Coach, I want to chat with you for a second, and, I think I want to come here and be a Sooner. And he said, he goes, well, I don't need you to think, I need you to know. And I go, well, I know, let's do it. Which, kind of set the tone for Bob. And just kind of a no BS guy, straight shooter, tell you what he thinks, tell you what it is. And after that, I never looked back, never went anywhere else. Then played my senior year and had a good year, and then enrolled and started like January 10th of 2010.
I want to get back to your visits. You mentioned Bama and Oregon. I want to hear how Oregon's locker room was, but a lot of guys have talked about how their visit to OU was boring, but you just got to see that it was going to be work and all that. But just if you can, I didn't want to just throw that softball to you, but let me know how yours was, and was it the same as what they said?
So I didn't actually go to Oregon. I talked a lot with Coach Graywood, great guy. I did go to Bama. We did like a trip. We had like a family reunion somewhere, and hit like Arkansas, Ole Miss, at Bama on the way down there, and visited some of those guys back when Houston Nutt was still in the game. And I remember going to Bama, and you walk in the door, and it's just all scripted. Like, it's all, in hindsight, it's obvious, right? But 16-year-old kid, and they know exactly what they're doing. So you walk in the door, and there's just like a blonde and a brunette kind of walk down this like spiral staircase, and they're your guides, and they know everything about you and all this stuff. And their facilities are elite. They may not be the modern facilities that some people have, but their tradition is there. And obviously they've had more success than anybody in the last 15, 20 years. But even I was already committed at that point. That was just a chance when it just happened to go through there. But it was tempting. It's a great place, and they send so many guys to the league. If that's a goal of yours, then I don't know that there's a better place to be. But at the end of the day, just made the decision to stay with what I committed to and stay close to home and do it that way. But I only took the one official visit to OU, so I can't really speak on that front. There's, and I would say that was kind of on the cusp of what recruiting is now. Now it's this huge production, Twitter, social media, Skype, FaceTime, all that. That wasn't really a thing in 2009, 2008. So it was really more just kind of traditional, check it out, talk to the strength coach. There's there might be an NFL player in there who happened to be working out when they walk you through and all that stuff, but it wasn't quite what it is today.
Yeah, you mentioned meeting the strength coach, and that led me into after you met Bob, you had to meet Schmitty at some point.
I did.
What was that like? I'm sure it was a friendly confrontation the first time you met. If you don't mind sharing that experience.
Yeah, so I remember. So when you come in the summer, like there's kind of that like transitional group, the freshmen that they kind of put them over here and they put them in their own time and they kind of hold their hand into it a little bit.
It's nice when they hold your hand.
At least you're struggling just like everybody else in the group struggling. But I got there in January. Me and Austin Woods were the 2 O-line guys that graduated early, and then Tony and Kenny Stills, Tony Jefferson, and a kid named Sheldon McLean were the 5 early guys. So at that point, there's no sense in having a group of 5 for a 2-hour window.
You're in there, big dog.
So I'm at 5:45. I don't think I slept the night before. I was so scared I was going to oversleep. We just show up like, I don't know what to think. I'm 17 years old at the time still, in January. And, you just kind of trying to be in the back and just kind of observe and see what's going on. You don't really know it. I mean, you've heard the stories, obviously. But I remember I got thrown in the group with Stephen Good,
strong guy,
Eric Menzick, and Jamarcus McFarland.
Yeah.
They're 20, 21, been there 3 or 4 years, or 2 years for Jamarcus. And I was just terrified. I was a strong kid. I wasn't like a freak like Stephen. But I remember like the first week they were doing curls with 185 on a straight bar, and I was like, well, first guy went, the second guy went, and the third guy went, and then I'm just standing there like, so you want me to try?
Yeah, anybody gonna unrack that 25 over there?
You want me to try? And then like the next day, like Menzick and Stephen Good are doing like 450 on the incline for reps, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm not in the right position, but I think that was good because I saw how those guys worked, and that kind of set the tone for me, as opposed to that kind of phasing into the program. I had no choice but to jump in and figure it out or drown, basically. I think that first offseason, I think I lost like 30 pounds. Ended up down like 295 or something. That was the one thing me and Schmitty kind of butted heads on was the weight sometimes. He wants you at this. I feel like I'm fine at this. Mm-hmm. I think we kind of got on the same page down the road. It's kind of like that older sibling that you butt heads with, and then once you get older, you kind of understand each other a little bit better. But I think he runs a tight ship, and he teaches discipline. Every day that you're in there, you're going to face some kind of adversity, to put it kindly. And you got to learn to respond to that, or you won't make it. Yeah. Or you'll be, come back at 3 big dogs.
Big dog. Let's go through some of your numbers. You mentioned when you got there, obviously, you lost 30 pounds, but I want to hear, and I think some of the high school kids in recruiting can really learn from the jumps that you make, not just mentally, but physically. Talk about some of the shit, dude. I'll never forget, I come in my first day and I'm just struggling. And I already didn't bench 300. Coming in, I was more of a basketball player than I was a football player. So I didn't want to lose. I got into lifting. Robert Jones was basically my strength coach because he used to wake us up and 6 a.m. and before school, me, Mike, and him would have to go lift, and so that was my deal. And again, I was doing it late, but coming into college not being able to bench 300, and you got tailbacks that are pushing 350, 375. I'm like, can you unrack that please for me? Can you help me lower the weight? Talk about the jumps that you made over the 4 years.
Yeah, and I think that was always the thing with Schmitty, was like, so when you don't really test like a squat max. They do like rep. They always did rep maxes. So the first day or the second day, before we start the training, the actual off season, you do your testing, and that was probably the most terrifying thing because, like you said, you got guys like Stephen Good that could do 315, 20 times. Man. And I was like, I might be able to get 300 right now, maybe 285, 300, something like that. And that energy. They turn the music on. Everybody's slapping each other's chest, and CC's in there. Rodney Rideau's slapping you in the face and lifting the bar up for you. But yeah, I don't think I got it one time, which is a very deflating feeling.
Deflating. That's the word I use.
Because you're the big dog, right?
Oh man,
you were the guy at Mustang. You were the guy at Carl Albert. You were the guy, in Dallas, wherever you're from. And then you come in there and you're the ant, you know, you're the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. So, you know, those guys go in and you rep it and you're like, well, I'll try it. You know, and they lift it off and it goes boom. You know, same thing with hang clean or power clean. 315 rep power clean. I couldn't power clean 315 when I was 17 years old.
It was awful.
But you know, that was his thing, is you got to be able to hit. That's what I always said. You got to hit 315 10 times, or you can't play here on the line.
So, you know, and you did, and thank you for it, but when I was helping Logan Robertson out in high school, you came by and spoke to him, and, you know, one of the big things that not only do you have to lift as a lineman, but your ass has to be able to run, brother. And that was one thing that I told Logan, you know, just over and over again is, and any lineman that I talk to, if you can, just for any lineman out there, just give them advice on what it's like, what they got to run, what differently is them running track a crazy idea, that whole deal.
No, it's not. I can think back to a couple of track workouts. It was in my first or second off season. We did this thing on like Friday mornings in the winter. So it's, you know, it's 15 degrees outside or 20 degrees. Couldn't wear a hoodie. Couldn't wear sweatpants. T-shirts, shorts, and we do like 4 400s, 4 300s, 4 200s, 4 100s. And that was just tempo. Yeah, like, you know, skills, mediums and bigs. Maybe a specialist group, but it's pretty quick. You know, time recovery. 600-yard shuttles became a thing that I really didn't much care for. I remember my last summer. I think it was my last summer. We ran one like the last day of the first week of the summer practice. We're like, that's not that bad. We kind of had a light day, so everybody just bangs it out. Next week rolls up. Scotty's got his clipboard. They recorded everyone's time. They didn't tell us, but they recorded your time. All right, you got to beat your last week's time by 3 seconds.
Got to.
And we're like, what? So then it's like, well, if I'm going to do that, I need to beat it by exactly 3 seconds. Because if I beat it by 8 seconds, then I'm going to have to beat that one by 3 seconds. The next, it's just a lot of mental.
You become a mathematician real quick.
Shoes. Yeah. Brian LePack is a guy that was big on, I mean, he's obviously a very intelligent guy. Big on like pacing, and like he would count the pace, and like I remember one time he messed his pace up and he missed it by like a second. You know, he just went nuclear on himself basically, or he's like, no, the stopwatch is wrong. It's like, it's probably the stopwatch is probably right.
The stopwatch has never been wrong on that guy's time.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just part of it. You got to be in good shape, and young guys coming up, there's nothing you can really do to be ready for it. You just have to be mentally prepared to understand that it's going to be different than anything you've done in high school, even if you had a great high school program, which I feel like I had a pretty solid strength and conditioning program at Mustang. You got to be able to just suck it up and do it. I mean, you get comfortable running 200s. You get comfortable doing those things. You figure out how to breathe and burst out of your turns on your trippers. And
yep.
Then once you get it figured out, then you go in there and the next day they got weight pants and weight vests, and now you're doing the 6 trippers with those on. Or jumping over hurdles. Like, that was something I never even thought about. Boy, I mean, I think my class with me and Woods and Jake Reed and some of those guys, I think that inspired them to replace those plastic bars on the hurdles with 2x4s because they broke so many of them, landing on them and stuff. But,
epic falls, too.
The shin busters, I mean, everything. It's, you know, I still get chills thinking about some of that stuff. And was it all 100% the best, most efficient way to train? Probably not. But it helps instill that mentality of whatever it is, we're just going to go out there and attack it and finish it.
Whatever, wherever.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and we talked about just the physical and mental gap. You know, you were a guy that played early, so just talk about that, man. What was it like? What'd you know in high school compared to what you had to learn in college? What was the first day of pads and hitting like? Let me know.
Yeah, so that spring was a very thin spring up front, so the second team offensive line was... The interior was me at guard, Gabe Eichert, who was a first-year center, tight end conversion guy at center, and then Austin Woods at the other guard. So you got 2 early grad guys and a guy that hadn't played offensive line before. That was an interesting spring. You know, it's not only the physical side, but the mental piece of it is steps above anything you did in high school. I think that's pretty safe to say for anybody. But it was stressful, man, but you know, when you go out there and you have a bad day, then you go out there the next game and you win a couple and you kind of build on that and you win a few more and you get to go to the spring game and make some plays. I would say just having that resilience to not give up and not get frustrated and get down on yourself, because you're gonna struggle. It's like I'm a freshly 18-year-old kid that should be at prom or graduation things or whatever, and instead I'm sitting there and Jamarcus McFarland and Stacey McGee are across from me, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why did I do this? But I tell you what, that second spring was cake, and those guys that didn't come in early, that was their first spring, and they're still figuring it out. So it'll all pay dividends down the road, but you just got to realize that. I think it's just like embrace the suck, really in all aspects of your first semester or 2 semesters.
Fun games that you played in. You guys played some epic programs while you were there. A few on the road, a few at home. Just let me know what was. I mean, obviously the Texas OSU rivalries, but the Alabama game that you finished with, it was amazing. Talk about all those.
Yeah, so we went 3-1 in Bedlam, 3-1 in Texas. That last year at Texas was rough. That Oklahoma State team we lost to was really good in 2011.
Absolutely.
My buddy, I got a buddy that's played there, Evan Epstein, that played for Oklahoma State that year, and we've been friends ever since then. But that was a really good team. They don't get enough credit. And then Josh Cooper from Mustang was there as well, and David Glidden actually. Mm-hmm. So 2 guys I played high school football with. But that's a team that I think could have made a run.
Whedon was out in high school when I was there. So I mean, he was a quarterback same year I was.
Grandpa Whedon was there.
Yeah. Fuck, we went to A&M camp together. I was like, who's this guy from Edmond? He was like, who's this guy from Carl Albert? I was like, oh, we're buddies. All right.
Yeah. So. Pretty good there. Played at Notre Dame, which is a great experience. It's really unique to see the imagery of the touchdown Jesus and the signage and all that stuff that you see from the Rudy movie that still looks the exact same. Getting a big win there as well against a good team with a lot of draft picks. Alabama game kind of speaks for itself.
Man,
that's the second BCS Bowl. We won the Fiesta Bowl my freshman year against a UConn team that was left a little bit to be desired. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the Sugar Bowl week, the whole week, I mean everything was 100 miles an hour. We worked, we partied, we ate Cajun food, we did Bourbon Street, we did the Children's Hospital. It was just a great experience and a great way to end the career with obviously a win in a game that nobody gave us much of a chance, but it's anytime you play Oklahoma, you got a good chance of losing.
That's real. Let's talk about that season though, because it was somewhat of a why did people do? I can't get why people don't think we had a chance in that game. But I also get that we were, going through quarterback things. We were going up and down. Just talk about what that was like with Blake and Trevor.
Yeah, well, Blake and Trevor and Kendall played that year. Yep. Kendall Thompson's a Moore kid, Southmore. That was a weird year because we came off a terrible ending to the season before in the Cotton Bowl versus Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M.
He wasn't bad.
And boy, that first week of off season, I think Schmidt had the A&M helmet out there,
awesome.
Talking trash, which we did. That reminds me, we did play at A&M. It was kind of a cool experience too.
Oh yeah.
Before they moved out, but that was a big point of focus in the off season was being tougher and finishing and all this stuff. So we got a new O-line coach in the spring, in February, I think. Bill obviously is still there, and that was kind of new. We didn't know what to expect. Came into spring football and they're like, this dude's gonna kill us, man. I mean that the tempo of individual, the tempo of the information that he would give you was kind of like get on the train or it's gonna leave you behind. Obviously he's had a lot of success and I think he did a great job that year. But opened up the season, we were just kind of inconsistent. We'd have a good half or a good quarter and then a bad quarter, which isn't crazy for the beginning of the season. We took a loss at Texas, which was an odd game. It kind of a weird feeling to it. It could never really get it going. Took a loss to a really good Baylor team in Waco. I think that was like a Wednesday or Thursday night game. That was the definition of not being able to get anything going. They're playing 8-man box, 9-man box. So you had those games that were really low points. But then until later in the season, you didn't really have any high points. It was just, we won. The Notre Dame game, I guess, would be the one exception to that, going in there and beating them. But you could probably argue that they weren't as good as they were the year before, but had some really good talent on the D-line and linebackers. Then the end of the season came, and we were dealing with some injuries. We had some guys injured up front. We had a guy break his foot in the K-State game, one of the tackles. Quarterbacks were banged up here and there, little things. So we got a big win at Kansas State, which may be the coldest game I ever played in. And then moving on to Baylor, we lost a tackle, so we had to put in a new tackle at left tackle. So we kind of had to plan around that, and I had to kind of be in a 3 down, be a little bit more helpful outside than inside at guard. And that was obviously a huge win. 3 quarterbacks played in that game. That was either the coldest or the second coldest. Those two, they were both horrible. But like I said, all 3 guys played. We won that game. Kind of came out of the season limping, but 2 losses. And I remember sitting there, and bowl selection, comes on, and OU versus Alabama. I'm like, man. We'll play anybody. We don't care. We're not scared of anybody, but. I don't think we thought we were going to get in the BCS game. The name probably helped us out a little bit there, but we got that, and it's like, man, the guy that played at Oklahoma State had a little bit of trouble at tackle, kind of keeping up with some of the speed, and he wasn't used to it. And Bill came to me and it's like, can you play tackle? I was like, man, I told you that since the first day I was here. It's not a big deal, whatever. So I go into bowl season, I'm playing right tackle mostly, and they moved Darryl over to the other side. And got really sick in bowl practice and missed like a week, and we just went down there, and we were determined to win, and nobody gave us a shot, so we didn't really have anything to lose from that perspective. But it was really fun because we didn't feel like there was a lot of pressure. We didn't feel like the expectations were there. It's like, let's go out there and play. If we win, great. That's the expectation. If we don't, we'll be upset, but we'll be the only people that are surprised by it. But I remember the media leading up to it. We're all just kind of sarcastic, like, I just hope we can compete. I just hope we're able to go out there
within 30.
Yeah, just hope we can cover. It's a 14.5 point line. Maybe we'll cover, and hopefully we'll give them a game and have fun in New Orleans and blah blah blah. And it's just like. We were confident. We put in basically not a new offense, but a new variation of what we'd done, and copied some of the things that Auburn had done that year that worked against them. And
makes sense.
After that week, so much respect for Coach Heupel and what he was able to do in December leading up to that game that ultimately was the difference in winning and losing, and winning decisively in that game. And I think that. He's a huge piece of that. Just what he was able to put together on the offensive side, and guys bought in, and obviously the result was pretty good.
Yeah, you guys had unfortunately, there was a lot of narratives that started or ended with you guys. 50-49 at West Virginia. Obviously, now there's no defense in the Big 12, right?
They had
some guy named
Tavon Austin. That guy, man. I don't know if I've seen a faster one on the football field.
Big 12 and SEC. Big 12 have never stand a chance against the SEC.
Right.
So, offensive coordinators, Heupel wasn't very good at calling plays.
Yep.
There's a lot of narratives that you guys just created. There's just, you're like, what?
Well, then you got all that, and then the narrative becomes, Alabama's used to playing in the championships, and it didn't matter to them, and it didn't, it wasn't important. They were checked out because they're not in the championship game. It's like, can't do anything. We can't change that narrative. That's an opinion that if you got it, you're probably not going to change your mind. But talking to those guys all week, they were pretty dead set on kicking our ass, just like we were on them. And at the game, it sure felt like they were trying to win. So I'll let you think what you want, but I think that it was 2 really good football teams, a lot of NFL guys on the field.
Tons.
And it was a great game and a great way to end a college career.
I don't think many people realize. I mean, you had Cooper, you had Amari Cooper, you had Derrick Henry, you had Yeldon over on Alabama. You mentioned Darryl for you guys.
AJ McCarron, Blake Bell, Jalen Saunders.
Yep.
Gino Grisham.
Is he still around? Gino?
Yeah, Jalen's in the XFL now.
Zach just went back to
Zak
Canada.
Sanchez was there. Gabe Lynn was there. He was there for a little bit. Gabe Eichert.
Yeah.
They had they probably had 4 or 5 linemen go.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there was a ton of talent on the field. It was a great environment, great city, obviously, to be in.
Who'd you go up against that game?
Oh, I'm not even gonna remember his name. He was huge though.
Big
He was
number 8 or something like that.
He was very large. I wouldn't say overly athletic, but they kind of line up and do what they do. They're not gonna do a bunch of fancy stuff, and they didn't blitz a whole lot. They didn't do any shifting or anything. They just kind of tried to big boy us, and didn't work out for them.
Yep. We'll put some highlights up, but I want to get a few more questions before we get fan questions. We'll let you go, but want to talk about NFL stuff, man. You got a little trip up to Seattle. I worked out with the Seahawks too. It was kind of depressing. They made us work out at like 5:30 in the morning. It was cold in that little indoor, but it was pretty nice. They gave us some nice gear, so I still have the shorts. So that was nice. They weren't that good back then. They went through a spell. My rookie year in the NFL, they had made it a game away from the NFC Championship. They had Sean Alexander, maybe MVP,
running back.
Yep. So he was there, and then they just went through a funk before they got you guys and Pete Carroll and all them. So just talk about what Seattle was like.
I love the city. I think it's amazing. I'd like to go back. I need to get back up there at some point. So I was actually there. I was an undrafted rookie priority free agent, whatever you want to call it, right after they won the Super Bowl. So kind of the opposite of what you're talking about.
Right.
The expectations are super high. Russell Wilson's the best quarterback of all time.
Defense is amazing.
Defense is fantastic. Great linebackers. Secondary, Legion of Boom, I believe is what they called them.
They were good.
O-line was just okay. They had some places they needed some help. Had some young Oklahoma guys. Alvin Bailey, Russell Okung, and Michael Bowie.
Oh yeah,
from Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 3 Oklahoma State guys in the room. Well, 2 Oklahoma State guys, and Alvin went to Arkansas. But he was from Tulsa as well. But it was kind of that same transition we talked about earlier. They're not doing as physical workouts. It's a little different as far as the structure. But
tons.
You walk in the room and there's a guy that makes $16 million a year, and then you're just a rookie that was a undrafted free agent. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of not knowing what to expect and trying to fit in and trying to find a way to make that roster or at least a practice squad spot. And it's a top class organization. The facilities are fantastic. Tom Cable was there. He's not there anymore. Very old school. Tell you what he thinks type guy. Chris Morgan was there, who is now, I believe, the O-line coach of the Falcons. At least he was. So there was a lot of good coaches. Pete Carroll, obviously, is a legend in the game. Good friend, Ken Norton, he's back. Just a lot of talent, and just freak athletes everywhere is another big piece of it. It's a step up from college, but it's not like from high school to college.
Yeah.
The gap is much bigger. Yeah. But it was great. I had a cup of coffee while I was there. That's about all the time I had to do it. They brought in I can't remember his name. They brought in a vet, and I got released in preseason at some point. Went home and was trying to figure it out, and then ended up down in Houston for a workout and signed with them for another 6 weeks or something like that. Different vibe than Seattle for sure. I think my last day in Seattle was 78 degrees and sunny, and their facilities right there on the lake. It's beautiful. And then I go to Houston, and it's like 138 degree heat index on the field, and guys are just passing out. And I got a concussion when I was down there. Just everything that could go wrong did. But I was down there for a little bit, and then that was pretty much it. And then I did a developmental league type thing that. One of the ones that didn't work out, kind of like this one.
Yep. Shout out to Sean McVay, John Gruden, or excuse me, Jay Gruden.
Yeah.
Yep. A couple other guys. Theismann invested some money, but shit just didn't work. Man.
So that was in the one I did was in Omaha. So I trained in Atlanta, went to Seattle, Houston, Omaha. So I was just getting progressively.
Was it UFL?
Worser locations. No, it was. What was it called? FXFL or something. I don't even remember what it was called. But there was a team in Omaha, Brooklyn, Florida, and one Boston, I think.
Did y'all play in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we did. We actually played a game at Coney Island on the baseball field.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool. It was a cool little trip. The roller coaster, the Ferris wheels in the background, and that was actually a pretty cool little game. Other than that, it was just a kind of an interesting experience. But in Omaha, we played at TD Ameritrade, which is where they play the College World Series baseball games. And cutting on that dirt, man, is a different story. I never had that experience until that league, and it just rips all the skin off your arms and stuff. But I think that league lasted about 2 months and ran out of money. So. But I met some really good guys, from other places. A guy played at Michigan that I'm still buddies with, and guys, a guy that played at Tulsa, a guy that played at Auburn.
That's awesome.
That's actually a GA at OU now. It's just kind of it was a good way to meet some guys and play a little football. And Runnels was in that league, a couple of you guys, but didn't. After that, I came home, was playing basketball, and broke my foot, and I was like, that's it.
See ya.
I'm done.
Nice knowing y'all.
I'm not gonna try again. Let's move on to the real world type stuff.
Real.
So,
you mentioned friends that you're still close with, and I know you're in our Facebook group, so I appreciate that. It's hilarious.
I thought it was a secret.
Yeah, it is a secret, but nobody can join
not
it
anymore. But.
Yeah, they can't join. But it's hilarious, I must say, and I appreciate. You're kind of one of the younger guys that's in there that conversates with us, so I appreciate that. But just talk about some of the guys that you're cool with, and you mentioned Blake Bell, and obviously congrats to him winning the Super Bowl. Not bad.
Super Bowl champion. I was with Blake and Gabe Eichert and Austin Woods last night, or yesterday actually. We all got together and hung out for a little bit. Those guys are all kind of. Blake stays here in the off season. Austin's a GA or QC at OU still. Gabe's doing the radio thing. See those guys, talk to a few guys here and there, but everyone's kind of gone back there, where they're from or where they're at now. Trey Millard's here in town. Yeah. See him every once in a while. That's about it, man. I mean, I talk to, every once in a while on, Messenger or whatever, but nothing too regular. Everyone's kind of off and starting their families and doing that, so... but every time we do run into people, whether it's a spring game or at a football game, it's you just pick up right where you left off. Kind of like the spring game last year was great. It's went over to Ryan's place after the fact, and everybody was just hanging out. It was a good time. So.
That's what we're supposed to keep secret.
Was it a secret?
I wasn't there.
Whoa, sorry.
Just kidding.
Sorry to say, yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's like you just pick up right where you were. Let's start talking about the good old days, whatever. But I'm getting to be kind of the older guy. Feels like, at least. But I guess that's coming up pretty quick. So looking forward to doing that again this year.
That's awesome, man. This has been great. Let's get to some of these fan questions. You may know this guy, Buck Irwin at Buckaroo68OU wants to know, if you had to pick one quality that makes an O-lineman great, what would it be? Is this him speaking through you as well, or is this
it's
your opinion?
Probably something I didn't have.
Okay.
I don't know because it's such a multifaceted position where you have to do so many different things. I would say the one thing that you could have that can't really be taught is like just kind of that mentality of like being mean and physical. I've seen just about every scenario as far as teaching someone how to move their body a certain way, teaching somebody how to play with effort, teaching somebody how to play hard. But the actual like guys just being a dick, like you can't really teach that, I don't think. That's something that they either have or they don't. Not to say that they're like that all the time, but when you step on the field, you've got to kind of be able to turn that on if you're not like that normally. And that's the one thing I'd say that I've never seen anyone go from being a super nice guy to to that, no matter how much it's preached or taught or whatever.
No, I'm with you there. At Bobby Lepak wants to know, who is your favorite Lepak? Is it Lepak?
Lepak. Yeah, Bobby. So that's Brian.
Lepak.
That's one of Brian's older brothers. That's tough. So they're all like attorneys. So they all have they can all serve you like a different, they have different types of law that they work with.
Okay. I'm not liable for anything, just so they know.
Well, not yet, right?
Yeah.
He's actually a professor too, I think, at OU. I played with Brian for a year, and he kind of took us under his wing our freshman year. So he's up there. Their mom is fantastic.
Shout out to mom.
Probably number one. Their dad is a state rep now, or a state senator, so he's doing good things. They're just a great family, really. But no, I like them all. I need to see Bobby. It's been a while, but they got a brother that does all, offshore banking and stuff. So maybe we can get something set up with him too.
I can be liable for that. At Randy Zabel wants to know, and you got exposed here, playing in the PCO Optimus Youth Football League. How did that prepare you for life as a D1 football player? I'm sure it did. He says he coached against you, and his oldest son was playing up in a division and played against you.
Oh, to answer the question, I would say it didn't. But I don't even know how the league was structured. So we were in the Mustang side of it, but we always played like UConn teams and PCO teams. But I remember, I think like PCO had like the Steelers and they had the Titans, and they were always much more athletic than we were. So maybe just getting used to some of that speed, I guess.
Absolutely.
But and then whenever we got to the middle school and high school, we were always so much better than they were. So it was kind of an interesting dynamic, which I don't know if those kids, maybe they didn't stay in the Putnam City School District or whatever. And, which I know there's kids like in Middale that will go play on PCO teams and stuff too in Little League. But yeah, as far as preparing me for something, I would say 0%. Little League football is just such a disaster to me. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that Little League football prepares you for anything except for being comfortable in pads and bumping into people. But
I don't know. I really enjoyed the East Side League, playing up a year and not being able to get a yard every game because teams are fly to the ball with 11 kids that won't be playing football in 4 or 5 years, and that whole deal just don't give you anything and kick your ass all day. Yeah, that's
the East Side. That league's serious. It's got those guys that have been doing coaching Little League teams for 20 years, and
it's a real deal.
It's super competitive, and I think some of those kids burn out even before they get to high school, which is sad. But, yeah, I mean, got Little League kids showing you their YouTube highlight videos. It's like, dude.
Add me on Snap, fam.
Nobody cares.
Check out my huddle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
How many offers do you have?
Yeah, I got Baylor's recruiting me, so,
Lane Kiffin's coming in pretty early, but.
At Rough Ace 22 wants to know, does knowing how to play every position on the offensive line make you a better player?
Yes. I would say, as far as knowing like the technique, I would say that they're all similar as far as the steps and things that you do, but knowing what all 5 guys are doing is very important. Just to know how the play flows and knowing what the backside is doing might tell you what the linebackers might do or the safeties, how they might fit. Very important. Like I said, moving from center to tackle, as far as like technique, nothing really changes. Maybe the angles are a little different. Center is a little bit different skill set because you have to snap the football, obviously. But having knowledge of, and I would say even kind of bigger picture and knowing what the whole offense is doing really helps. Knowing what side the back's on, is he motioning, all these things can kind of key into what might happen on the play, and that's something that Bill is extremely good at, is coaching the whole picture, making sure you see the safeties, making sure you see guys that are uncapped that can come off the edge, corner blitzes. That was something that he brought that took a little bit of getting used to, but ultimately it was something that made a huge difference in the way that you're able to see the field.
We're going to have to come back to that. At Sooner RF wants to know, Bronson, what was the expectations before and the feeling after the Sugar Bowl upset of heavily favored Bama?
The expectations were, like I said earlier, for us, I mean, our expectation was to win. Outside expectations, I'd say, were pretty low, just because of the kind of where we were at, and we'd had some injuries and things like that. But I don't think I ever played in a game at OU where we thought, man, we're probably going to lose this one. And I think you could probably say the same thing. Anybody that's ever played there, with the exception of a few spurts, could probably say that. Yeah. I mean, we expect to win every game we suit up for, but the pressure from the outside definitely didn't feel as strong. It was a scenario where kind of the narrative was if you could keep it close, that that's a win, so to speak. But for us, we were fired up, ready to go, and I mean that night afterwards was exceptional.
One you don't remember.
That was one where you just pack your bag before the game and then come back and take a shower and just
wear sunglasses.
Grab some ibuprofen and just grab your bag and like stumble down to the bus, like not a minute of sleep, and
wake up in Oklahoma.
Basically, lots of people going to the bathroom on the airplane and hearing throw up noises and things like that. But it was a great night, one that'll be in my memory for probably forever. So
hopefully y'all were okay by the time you got back, because there was damn near a parade in Norman.
There was, yeah. It's like right there. It's finally starting to hit you right when you get home, and you're just kind of like, ugh. And then you show up, and there's 6,000 people out there by the Everest Center. I don't know how many times that next 36 to 48 hours we heard "Pour Some Sugar on Me" by Def Leppard. It was
nice.
It was like, okay, we get it.
Just own it right by that time.
No, I mean, it was great. And then obviously going out that way was bittersweet. When you get back and you're like, man, you just get a trash bag and clean out your locker, and trying to figure out the next step and who you're going to sign with and all that. But I mean, that week is probably the most special week of my college career, I'd say.
At Nathan_McCullum, we'll finish with this one. He wants to know best lineman coach since you've been playing football.
That's hard, because whoever you don't say is going to call you.
All right, top 3. No order.
I never really played for a bad one, which is great. Little League, played for my dad, so that's good. Middle school coaches were really good. My high school line coach, I'm tempted to say him because he kind of set the tone and kind of taught me how to work and how to be a tough guy and grind people down. That's his name is Billy Langford. He's actually at Westmore, I think. He's a principal at Westmore. Yeah. I don't think he's coaching anymore, but there was no drop off going to college from having individual sessions with him.
I'll send him a positive email. We don't get enough of those as teachers.
Yeah, I need to do that because I need to get over there and catch up with him. It's been a long time. So he was great. James Patton recruited me, so obviously I think pretty highly of him. And then Bill, I mean, he kind of speaks for himself. Just a guy that's every day you got to bring it, match his intensity, coaches the details.
Talk about that, if you don't mind. It's Know You Pod, and everybody loves Coach B. They think he's amazing. He's an amazing recruiter, but just some of the details in meetings, passing people off, tendencies of corner blitzes, safety play.
Yeah.
What was some of the stuff you're like, oh shit, this dude is smart?
So we had we always had some kind of test or something, right? But he would do these packets that we would get, like
packets,
yeah. TPS reports.
Yeah.
You would get them like on Friday, and you had to turn them in on Saturday morning. And they were like, we used to get them before, and they'd be like, fill in the blank, or what do you think about this? This was like play sheets, blank, like draw everything.
You draw it all.
And that was, I'm assuming he still does that to this day. But yeah, I mean, taking it from just looking at the box to looking at the whole picture was definitely something that he brought to the table. I remember the first day he gets here before spring, he comes in, gets there like a week or two before spring football starts. We meet with him, the introduction was like super short, it's not what it's about. It's time to get to work, et cetera, et cetera. Sure. We're sitting there in the film room, and it's like, all right, we're gonna see what you guys know. And The first person he sent to the board, Tyrus Thompson, I'll never forget it. And he said, okay, draw the offense. Okay, square, circle, 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 circle. And he drew it like something simple, like doubles. I said, okay, draw this defense, whatever it was. And he starts drawing X's on every position. And he just
gets irate.
Loses it. Like, what?
Put the fucking nose where it's supposed to go. Put the D tackle to the end.
It's your 4th year. You don't know how to draw defense. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't go first. I might have done the same thing, So then, then he called somebody else and said, okay, well, N-T-E.
That's I knew that, coach.
But then it was like, he got to where, he instilled his language of, this is what this means means this means the safeties are doing this. So, we have to all be able to communicate in the same words. Yeah. But that first day, man, we were all like, okay, we're going to have to pick up our communication skills and understand better what he wants. And then that's something he holds you to every single day. In the individual periods where it took some adjusting to get used to, very tempoed, very high rep, muscle memory type of work. And send the GA takes a group, he takes a group, so you're in smaller groups, you can get more work. But does a great job, obviously, and the results speak for themselves of what he's done and the guys that he's had go to the next level and have success. But yeah, I think we started with the O-line coach question, but Bill's exceptional. And then my high school coach was really good. He kind of set the tone moving forward and ran the strength program as well, a big piece of that. So it's kind of around him all year long. But I need to get over there and catch up with him at some point.
Please do. And shout out to you, man, because you're going to give Del City High School kids someday. I'm going to be interviewing some kid 15 years down the road when he's in the NFL, and he's like, yeah, Bronson Irwin was my high school coach, so it was great because of him. And so
I doubt it, but yeah.
We'll see.
He was mean to me.
Nah. I'd highly doubt that. That shit's just tough love.
They'll get used to it. I think that telling people what you think and them being clear on where they stand with you is important, especially in that dynamic. You kind of dance around and the message gets lost sometimes. And some of that's just getting attention. Those kids these days, look at me, 28 years old, like a grandpa.
Right.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
They kind of all over the place, man. They're thinking about 1,000 things. They got all this stuff going on. They got
TikTok.
The phones are that and Snapchat and whatever happened at lunch, and it's a lot. We got to be able to focus on what we're doing, and I don't think there's a lot of kids that focus on one thing for more than 30 minutes at a time, unless it's something like a Fortnite or something like that. Yeah. But that's the way that I've seen it work. It's the way that I've seen some of the best in the business do it. So I just try to pick the best things that I've picked up along the way from different guys and use them.
Yeah. No, absolutely, brother. I appreciate you, and I know all the kids and my brother and Mike Dunn appreciate you a hell of a lot. So I can't wait, and I definitely have this lovely, nice, smooth, cool hoodie to come check you guys out this year. So best of luck to you, and hey, even against Carl Albert, man, I want to see you guys put your best foot forward. Can't really say win, but I want to see you put your best foot forward. No, I'm kidding. I want to see you guys definitely get the W, man. I want to see you guys take down Bigsby and Stillwater. That's what I definitely want to see, man. I want to see the state championship come to this side of the state. So
it'd be nice, for sure. Yeah,
any goals for the team this year, upcoming?
I don't think we've actually sat down and broke it down yet. Probably will do that here leading up to spring football. Some of the goals that'll probably be the same for us is run the ball 6 yards a carry is kind of our number. No sacks every game. That's a tough one, but
got to fight for it.
Trying to remember what else we had. We have explosive play goal, point goal.
You mentioned winning the playoff game, so probably win two.
Winning all the rivalry games and the playoff game. Like to win 2 this year. We got the 1 last year, but we got to win these out of district games too. They're going to be a big piece of it, and kind of start the year off on a high point with that as far as competition. Then have a few good games after that, kind of spread out. But got to be ready to go from, there's not going to be a ramp up here. We got to be ready to go week 1 and 2 and 3 after that are going to be tough as well.
Man, no joke. Well, best of luck to you, brother, and I appreciate you coming on. It's going to be another absolutely great episode of Fullback U. Thank you, dog.
Welcome back to Fullback U. I'm Brad Reed, the producer and sometimes co-host. And
Super producer.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And of course, J.D. Runnels. Now, I got a question real quick because it's been a few weeks since I've been in the studio here.
Okay.
There's some gloves on the wall. Tell me about these.
Well, one pair just so happens to be mine. And then a couple pair actually belong to Adrian Peterson. So not bad. They are worth some money. My son is calculating how much he can sell them on eBay for. I am telling him that he might have to deal with AD's son's handshake if he does all that. No, we don't want to get on AD's. But no, they're AD's first. If not, then I'm going to give them to JD3. And just cool deal. My sister bought a new house. They're moving. And so she brought me all the stuff out of their attic. And that's where all this new stuff is coming from. Stuff from elementary school back when back when I had an afro. So you'll have to put some of those pictures up and just all kinds of little memorabilia and stuff from when I was younger. Fun stuff.
All right. Well, so what we're going to do here today, how long have you been doing this? A
little over a year.
Yeah.
A year and a half probably. So.
And I joined with you probably, 9 months ago?
Probably somewhere around there.
So we're going to count down the top 10 moments from the podcast so far.
We've had a good 10, I think.
A couple of them were submitted from our listeners on Twitter. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, it's at FBU Podcast. You should do that.
Definitely.
But I say we get started. One thing I don't notice in the studio right now is the Heisman Trophy.
Where'd it go? Where'd my Heisman go?
Hopefully it went back to the owner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot I wasn't the owner.
Which he was gracious enough to let us take it out. And
like a month.
On tour.
Yeah. We acted like it was both of ours.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I sent many a picture of me with it to my cousins and stuff just to
honestly
make them jelly.
I'm glad he took that shit back. It's heavy, bro.
Oh,
it's and then you're worried about scratching it. And you're worried about it takes up your whole day. Like you have to have like a transportation mobile just to like move the damn thing.
There was a couple times when I need to move something in here and I was like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think at number 10 we'll start off with the man Jason White, and he kind of talked about maybe wanting to quit at one time.
If he's at number 10, this is going to be a hell of a list and hell of a show. That was an emotional moment, Brad. That was something that I'd never heard before. It was something that I maybe thought of, but I did not know that he thought about quitting. And I mean, wow, the Heisman experience for us would have never happened.
Right.
We would have had to depend on AD to hopefully win it his next year or something like that, but it never would have happened. It just... wow. And for him to say that on our podcast, wow. Yeah. Amazing.
That year, I came back from that knee surgery really quick, the second one, and I started going through spring ball, and I was struggling because my knee kept swelling up really big, and I was having trouble. And so...
you have to get it drained?
Yes.
Back then, I remember having to get it drained.
Yeah, and so, just and I wanted to get back in the rotation because there was Brent Rawls, which had a cannon. There was Paul Thompson, Rhett Bomar. I mean, all these guys are fighting for that spot. So I felt if I didn't get back in that rotation and show them, what I could do, that I wouldn't have a shot. So that's why I went through spring ball. Well, after the first week of spring ball, I went into Coach Long's office, down and out, and I shut the door behind me, and I said, Coach, and he looked at me and he goes, nope. And I said, you don't even know what I'm going to ask. And he goes, oh, I know what you're going to come in here and say you can't do it anymore. And I said, how do you know that? And he goes, well, I see it. He said, but guess what? He said, when's the first game? I said, September. He goes, what month is it? March. Okay, well, what are you worried about? Why are you? And I said, well, spring ball. He said, guess what? That don't matter. He said, come fall, if you're ready to go, then we'll see where you're at. And so he really saw that I was struggling, and he okayed it for me to, hey, stop rushing. We don't play until September. Take your time and heal up and get better. And that right there, showed me a lot about him. And then in fact, we share the same birthday.
Yeah.
So that summer, on my birthday, I was walking over to do 7-on-7 in the indoor, and Coach Long's walking out of the indoor. He had been running or something, and he's walking out, and he goes, "Hey, Jay Bird," is what he called me. "Hey, Jay Bird, I need to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What's going on, Coach?" He said, "Well, just wanting you to know we're going to announce you the starter today." And it was on my birthday.
Awesome.
So I was like, "Wow, this is great." And he said, "Well, we're going to announce it today around lunch." He said, "I just wanted you to know first, and hey, you're our guy. So you put this team on your back and run with it."
Yeah.
And so from that point forward, it gave confidence to me that, the coaches had that confidence that I could still play. And so from that point forward, I never looked back.
About your knee being drained, was the needle huge?
Oh, gosh.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, well, that's not the worst needle. The worst needle I ever had was the one that went in my toe.
I remember that too.
Yeah,
I remember you talking about that when you had turf toe.
Yeah,
I remember that. Damn.
So they take your big toe, right, and they pull it out. They pull it, and then that joint right there, they stick this long needle in that joint, and then they just roll it around. They roll it around, and that is the worst thing I've ever had to do.
That was a great one from Jason. The next one was a special show because it was all fullbacks.
It was all fullback U with a bunch of fullbacks.
Yeah. And I do have to say, that was the last show with Jeff.
Rest in peace, Jeff Roughface.
Yeah,
big time guy.
He was a good friend of mine. I worked with him, so I was really happy for him when he was working with you on Fullback U. So, and we're continuing this in his memory.
That's right.
But Jackson, everybody was talking about their favorite touchdowns. What do you remember from that?
That sucks. I mean, we're all thinking of these great memories, plural, that we have from OU, and we're just sitting there talking about it. And Dimitri's had so many great games, and I had a few good catches, and Trey Miller got a bunch of great carries, and most of those, not most, but a lot of those plays ended up for touchdowns for us. And we're talking about, what was your favorite touchdown? And what was your favorite touchdown? And finally, Jackson's like, my only touchdown. It sucks, but
going 1 for 1, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. And hey, there's a lot of people that played that never got one.
Exactly.
So better one than none.
Yule's favorite touchdown.
I was 1 for 1, and that was my favorite one. UTEP. I closed it. I put the dagger in UTEP. It was over.
So that was number 9, Jackson Yules. At number 8, we got Superman, Roy Williams.
Yeah.
And this was a great conversation. The first time I ever got to meet Superman, this was during that podcast. And he talks about people not bringing it in practice, but expecting being good in games. Did you run into a lot of that?
Well, not a lot, but it's just funny how Roy it will tell you to your face, like, no, you wouldn't. And that's what he's saying. Like right here is like, do it now and don't tell me you would do it later. Practice it now. That way you can get it done. But Roy's full of knowledge. I'm so blessed that he's blessed the pod multiple times.
Yeah.
Coaching drills. Roy, what you got? What would you use?
It's my whole thing is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Some of the coaches that, I don't even know who. Well, like for instance, Brian. He was on the offensive side, but I would go back. Kind of, I know you have to keep it fun, enticing, whatever. But I mean, I would go back to the whole pursuit drills. You know what I mean? I would go back to, like for real. Form tackling, bringing them to the ground, you know what I mean?
Live inside.
Most definitely. I mean, it has to. I mean, because it's. I mean, you do need that because it's like when you're not doing it, you're not just going to be able to turn it on like a light switch and come game time, you're going to be able to do it. It's just not going to happen. Like at some point during practice, you have got to get that rust off your shoulder pads, and if you're not doing that. You know what I mean? It's like this new day and age where you let somebody catch the ball in front of you, like, I would have got that in the game. No, the fuck you wouldn't. You know what I mean? That's honest though.
But that was different for us though, because if we let that happen, it was all hell about to break loose.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm on the other side of the field. A ball gets thrown to say a 10-yard curl route. You better believe within 5 seconds, I better be in that frame before it cuts off, unless I'm getting my ass cussed out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Our pursuit was fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And it was ridiculous for a reason because we practiced it. You know what I mean? And we hungered because I'm telling you right now, I got tired of getting cussed out for not being in the town. I only took 2 times. Took 2 times for me to understand where I need to be. You know what I mean? I need to be at that ball, and that's just and that's what I feel that they need to get back to.
All right, number 7. This was a special podcast we did. We went to Tulsa. I think the only time we've gone out of town so far, but we got some more plans in the future.
Yes.
But Solo, tell me about him.
Oh my gosh, so DeMario Solomon Simmons, just an amazing story, and the best part about it, Brad, is he has this tale of how he was a class short to OU, and it was a math class. Me being a math teacher, one of his he couldn't pass this class, didn't know how. Finally meets this math tutor, gets to pass the class, but it's an unbelievable story of him being able to overcome adversity, pass this class, make it to Tulsa to turn in his transcript, make it back to Norman. You got to hear it.
I'm down there in Dallas, man, making $10 an hour, seeing what it really means to be low income and not have a real shot at life. I'm like, it's more to this. I wrecked my car down there, moved into an apartment with run down apartments, roaches everywhere. I'm like, man, this more for me than this. At that point, I said, you know what? Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to walk on to OU. By this time, you got to remember, I graduated in 94. This is 97. I'm 3 years out from having played a football game.
Not working out, not like
Nothing.
that. Yeah.
Everybody's like, man, this is crazy. You're not walking on the OU. I'm walking on the OU. Man, I finished at TCC, transferring to OU. I needed 3 hours to get my associate's degree, okay? But I was like, I'll just take the little college algebra. I was running from algebra. I'll take that when I get to OU.
7th, 8th grade math teacher in me is disappointed in you, but go ahead.
Well, I had flunked algebra as a freshman.
I understand. It's
and
so
got
important
passed
at
all
that
the way
age.
through.
Yeah, I was just giving you a hard time.
No, I'm just telling you. That's part of the story, though.
though.
And then when I got to NSU, they put me in remedial algebra. And I was like, I'm going to drop that. So when I get to TCC, I'm making straight A's by this time I'm at TCC. But I was afraid of algebra.
Yeah.
It's relevant to this story. So I get down to OU, I'm like, I'm just going to take algebra when I get there. I'm working out with the squad, working out with Coach Johnson. Now, I need to tell you this. John Blake, he's an in-law of mine. He's married to my wife's first cousin, who's like her older sister.
Wow.
So I know John. And I told John, I said, man, I'm going to walk on. And I said something really stupid, but I didn't know how stupid it was at the time. I said, treat me like every other walk-on.
Okay. Okay. Not at all. You regretted that one real quick.
That was a really stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand what that meant, but he did. So, man, I get down to OU. I'm working out, doing the summer workout. Coach Johnson, people knew who I was. They knew me from Booker T. They knew I could play. I'm working out, whatever. 3 weeks before two-a-days start, Coach Johnson, Merv Johnson, bring me into his office. He's like, Solomon, I got some bad news. I was like, what's up, Coach? He said, you're not going to be eligible. I said, what you mean? As you know, as I know now, when you come from junior college, you got to come in what?
All the credits.
Eligible. You got to come in with your degree.
Yep.
He said, we just realized you three hours short. I was like, what? Now, remember, I'm already out 3 years. You only get 5 to play 4. So I only got 2 years to play. So if I lose a year, I'm never playing, right? Who going to come in 1 year and play? I'm like devastated. I'm like, Coach, well, what can I do? He said, the only thing you can do is if you could find an intercession course, which I didn't even know what that was at the time, an intercession course, and get that on file before school start, you could come out with the regular walk-ons. Because I was like a preferred walk-on.
Right.
You can come out with the regular walk-ons when school start, the Rudy walk-ons. I was like, all right. I go home. Now, this is 1997, 98. There's no internet. I ain't know that. I'm just going through the phone book. I'm going through the phone book calling every college in Oklahoma. Now, remember, I just told you I flunked high school freshman algebra. I told you I dropped out of remedial algebra.
It's real.
I told you I ran from algebra in junior college. Now I'm going to take an intercession course algebra.
3 weeks.
I'm going to take 3 weeks and put a whole semester algebra. But I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I called every school in the state of Oklahoma I could find the phone book. Every school's like, no, we don't offer that. I literally fall on my back crying like a baby. And that's the day I knew I was going to marry my wife, Mia. And she was like, nah, heck nah, this can't be. All this work you done.
Right.
I don't know how I missed it, but she found Oklahoma Christian College in Edmond.
Yeah.
Christian University. Not OCU. Not Oklahoma City University, Oklahoma Christian.
Yeah, I got you.
She finds that college. I call them. They're like, yeah, we got a course, but you got to enroll today. Woo! I drive up to Edmond, go to try to enroll. they tell me, you can't enroll. I said, why not? They say, you don't have the prerequisites. Because I had no algebra, any math for me. They said, this you can't, this is too advanced for you. I said, no, you don't understand. If I don't do this, blah, 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 what can I do? They said, well, only thing you can do if the teacher gives you an exception. But where's the teacher? They're like, we don't know. It's a college campus. How the hell we know where a teacher is? I go around the campus. I don't know how I found the teacher. I find the teacher. I give him my story. He said, man, I just don't think you're going to be able to keep up. You just, this is going to go real fast. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. He said, all right, I'm going to let you in, but I'm just letting you right now. This is going to go real fast. I can do it. He let me in the class. We had 3 tests and a final. After the first week, what do you think I made on the test?
I'm going to say D or C. F?
F minus. I made a 33%. F minus. It was like looking at Chinese.
I believe it.
I'm living over there at Summer Point.
Yep.
Down there in Norman. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't get this. I'm depressed. I'm just, I can't believe this. So I do what all depressed people did back there. I ordered a pizza.
Absolutely.
From Pizza Shuttle. You remember Pizza Shuttle?
Yeah, 12 at night. It didn't taste good until after 12.
That's right.
Yeah.
You get you a Supreme for $2.99.
Right.
Where they do that at?
Not at all.
You ain't gonna believe this. True story. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't get this. I call the pizza. God delivers the pizza. I'm so dejected. I'm so low. I see all my dreams going away. I'm never gonna play at OU. I asked the pizza delivery guy. This is a lesson.
Yeah.
I humble myself to the pizza delivery guy, and I say, hey, man, do you know how to do math? I'm calling it math. The guy said, I'm a mathematics graduate student.
That's college
I
for
say,
you.
what?
That's college for you.
That's God
college
for you too, though.
Absolutely.
He said, I'm a mathematics graduate student getting his PhD.
And he saw how you felt.
And he tutored me.
And he tutored you.
And I'm here today because
awesome,
of that
man.
for that man tutoring me and getting me past that algebra class.
What a story.
And let me tell you, it don't end there. I got to finish. I know it's a long story.
You good,
After he tutors me,
time.
I make up my grades. I gotta pass the last final so I can get my grade posted at OU. I pick up my grade. I made a D. I made 2 Ds in college. That was one of them. I made a D in the class. Happiest D I ever got in my life. But I had to have my grade, with my degree posted at OU by 5 on that Friday. I pick up my transcript at 12 in Edmond. I had to drive here to Tulsa, to downtown, what we call TJC at the time, Tulsa Junior College, run in the building, go to the office, give them my transcript showing I got the 3 credit hours.
Go back to Norman.
Boom, go back to Norman. I got back to Norman and got my transcript in at 4:48. 4:48.
College, dog. That's college. That's real.
And then I came out there on the first day of practice, because the OU, anybody can walk on. It's a public institution. I'm out there with just everybody. And I'm out there like, oh, my God. And then I go to the locker room, and they say, where you going? Because, during the summer, I was over there with all the regular players. They say, no, buddy. Your locker room's over there. Back then, they put the walk-ons
the
in
pink locker room or whatever it was.
Visitors' locker room.
Visitors' locker. I heard it was
So
pink.
that's how I got there, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, JD, our next one at number 6 it was a request from Twitter. Our friend Mike at 44DMJ says, you telling the story of Donnelly claiming he was at least better than the Colorado TE to the Tech backer was the hardest he had laughed.
Well, I'm glad I made the top 10. Glad I made it for my comedic purposes. Lance Donnelly, not the best shit talker in the world, and that's okay. But sometimes not being the best, by Lance being who he was and handling it how he did, and not saying F you or you suck too, but just saying, hey man, what about the guy from Colorado? I mean, it was a classic one-liner. It summed up Lance, and I'm glad I could capture it for our audience.
Now, one of the things that I love about sports is shit talking. And I just have a question. Do you think that it takes people more out of their game, like in basketball, football? Which one? Which one has the best shit talkers?
Well, I would say basketball's more of it's more of a, if you can get somebody out of their game, I feel like you can impact them more because it's quicker. And so you'll have a lot quicker chances. If I can get you out of your game now, you may miss the inbound play.
Right.
Whereas in football, if I can get you out of we may be out in the huddle, or, we may be walking back to the huddle. So I think a lot of that in basketball, you can get them a little more chippy, a little more on there. And plus, I was a football guy too, so I'm used to getting you chippy on the field or on the court. That's just how I do it.
All right, here's you talking about Donnelly.
So my freshman year, we have this great, Jay White, he gets hurt. Nate picks us up. There was a weird deal that our offense, you mentioned we put in the fullback a lot. Lance Donnelly had sprained his ankle at the end of the year. And Hayes, and rightfully so, was trying to get Lance some reps, but he just wasn't ready. Lance, that next year, took the step of taking the starting tight end role over. And had an incredible year as starting tight end. One of his catches down at Texas Tech, they had the bobbled catch where he jumps up and catches it and gets caught up. Talk about your and Lance relationship. What an awesome teammate. There's not many funnier people in the world.
Lance is awesome.
Love that dude. Just let us know what LD was like.
Man, LD growing up, man, he was always cool growing up. He was big into baseball for a while, and then we had a crazy good baseball team. Like they went undefeated their senior year. They didn't even lose. So me and Lance kind of backed off of the baseball team. I was never really big into baseball. I played it a little bit, but I'd go play for other smaller towns just kind of for fun. But man, he was always in on that. Then growing up, when we hit 7th and 8th grade, that's when me and Lance kind of figured out
football.
We had something going on here with football. Yeah. Like we was going to be all right with football. And so like in 8th grade, we were both, kind of head and shoulders above everybody. And we were like, yeah, man, we're going to go play football together. We're like, yeah, we're going to go. Where we're going to go is like, I don't know, let's go somewhere crazy. Let's go to USC. We started talking about that. And then after a year, we were like, nah, we ain't going to USC. And then, so it started going, and then I got offered first, and then Lance got offered. He got offered by OSU first. And he wanted to stay in state. And I don't know how many offers he had. He had a few outside of the state, but I think it was either OU or OSU for Lance. And then as soon as OU offered him, he dropped that commitment and came over. So, But yeah, it was always a good time, man. Lance was always funny. His mom and my mom were always great friends growing up. And his mom was always crazy. I always called her the devil. Because she would always just say some off-the-wall stuff. And I'd be like, you're the devil, Vicky. You're the devil.
That's awesome. I learned a lot on how to deal with Coach Hayes from Lance. He used to get roasted by him a few times, and it would just be super duper funny. He told him he cut like old people fuck one day. That was because he just fell and laid there. That was amazing. Funniest story, in-game story was one of Lance's comebacks. I don't know I'm sure you heard it, but we had been watching film over Colorado the whole week and Texas Tech, and we were going to try some of the things that Colorado had tried. And their tight end just wasn't blocking Texas Tech's outside linebacker, Mike Smith. He just wasn't getting the job done. And somebody's just roasting this tight end the whole fucking week. He's like, just guys, you got to do better than this, blah, blah, blah. We get to the game, and the first play of the game, fucking Lance goes to try to block Mike Smith. And Mike's like, you're the worst fucking tight end in the Big 12. And Lance would like not even stop and goes, what about the guy from Colorado? Like, so Lance,
All right, at number 5, this one is going to get everybody in the feels right here. Lieutenant Jermaine Johnson was on, and you asked him about, his memorable police stories, and this one is it tugs at your heart.
I pride myself, Brad, and we bring in a lot of people. We bring in a variety of football players, variety of schools, variety of jobs, variety of people. We brought in cops, and I expected a cop story. I expected to shoot them up, or this or that, and man, he ends up basically telling us about a kid that he should have killed that it would have saved a girl's life, and it was just hearing a cop almost tear up on the podcast was powerful.
Cop story, if you can, Jermaine. I know you got some great ones.
I got some great ones. The best one, I would probably say, was off duty though. I can give you smoke. I don't want you to talk about that. Don't talk about Bricktown.
Talk about that one.
Tell the one about the young man on the bicycle. I think that's profound too. Okay. May 4th. I don't remember the year. My birthday's May 5th. Okay. My birthday's May 5th.
I didn't know.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's. I'm not going to do any police work today. Because I'm turning up tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. Birthday week.
It's 80-something degrees. I'm at 23rd and Ollie.
Okay.
I see an African-American kid, 13 years old, on a bicycle wearing a Chicago Bulls jacket. Now, I just told you it's 86 degrees. Why does he have a Chicago Bulls jacket?
Got something strapped in there.
He's smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
I said, you know what?
Fashion police work.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm gonna talk to this kid, tell him stay in school because I'm mentoring at this off on the side. So I'm gonna make a.
You ain't gonna want to hear that.
I'm gonna make a difference. So JD, he's on his bicycle and I'm behind him, and I hit my horn, and what I told the court a few years ago, he turned around and he looked at me, and it's a stare that I've never seen from a kid, and I was like, well, what the? I said, hey man, come here. He drives his bike to the driver's side door, and I'm lazy. I don't want to get out of the car. He leans his bicycle up against my car, and the windows roll down. I said, hey, what's your name? He doesn't say anything. He's looking for it. I said, boy, you hear me talking to you? He then proceeds to reach in his pocket, and he's pulling out a cannon. He's pulling out a .45 automatic out of his pocket. And I say, oh, expletive. And I open the door, and I knock him off the bike. He jumps back on the bike, and he's trying to pedal. But have you ever tried to pedal so fast that the chain pops off the sprocket?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to brag. I'm the fastest police officer that's ever been at that place. I'm going to walk him down. Now I know what's popping.
Right.
Now we got a foot chase. And we're running down 23rd Street, and I've got my gun out, and he's still trying to the gun's too big for his pocket, and he's trying to pull it out. And one of those stories, as soon as you get that thing out, youngster.
Yeah.
As soon as you get it out.
Yeah.
But I see this baby face. Like, I'm looking at this guy's face, but I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it, I'm going to kill him. Finally catch up to him, blow him up on the ground. I'm 250 pounds. He's 120 pounds, and I'm leaning on him, and I'm leaning on his chest, and I'm leaning on his neck area. Now, if somebody's trying to choke you, it's automatic. I'm not trying to choke you, but I'm leaning on him. What you're going to do is you're going to try to grab my hands and free yourself to breathe. He's still trying to reach in that pocket, and he's little. So I just flip him over, put the handcuffs on him, walk him to the car, grab the gun, .45. He's got one in the pipe. I said, you were going to shoot me. He was like, nah, man, I saw that you're an African-American. I was just going to give you the gun. I was like, stop lying. He says, N-word, you know what it is. I said, I respect that.
Yeah.
10 years later, same kid. Girlfriend breaks up with him. Goes to the bus stop. He walks in the bus stop, 12 p.m. Bus stop full of people. She's trying to get away from him. And he stabbed her so many times that the knife broke off inside of her. The actual witnesses thought that he was giving her love taps. He was hitting her so much with the knife.
Damn.
I go to trial because they're going to put him to sleep, and I have to have that conversation with a jury. So whenever you're on death, whenever they're trying to sentence you to death, your juvenile record and everything's good.
Okay.
And I'm telling this story to the jurors, and I'm talking to them about woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I almost choked up because I said, if I would have let that guy have it, we're not here.
Ooh, that's tough.
As a police officer, you got to learn to live with regrets. And if we all had a do-over, we'd probably use it. And
damn.
Goes life.
JD, at number 4, we had a special guest, Zak Sanchez. He came on the show, and at the end of the show, he kind of dropped some announcements on us. And this was the first, I think, that we've had some breaking news on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of mad at him because he could have broke the news that he was going back to the or to the CFL. So congrats to Sanchez. I'm just totally joking about being mad at him, but he announced that him and Stryker were starting a podcast, and then he also announces his retirement on the podcast. So
right.
I had no idea that we were ESPN at that time, but I guess we just became it in no time.
And here's Zach at number 4.
What's next for you? XFL podcast coaching.
So I'm announcing, man, I'm officially done with football, man. I think if Bob would have called me in January and really would fight for me to come out there, I probably would, just for him and the respect I have for him. But I'm officially done with ball, man. Like I touched on earlier, I have my business I'm trying to grow. Just with that, and then yes, I am gonna start a podcast. Thanks to you. You've been an influence on me about it.
Appreciate that, man.
So me and I'm gonna go ahead and announce who I'm probably gonna do it. My dog Strike.
Oh shit!
My dog Strike is gonna be with me. I was actually with him last week in Toronto, and we talked about it. So he's on board, man. So we try to get it rolling by the end of this year. I know I'm gonna pick you guys' brains about it. Y'all set the standard for me. I'm gonna leave Sooner football to JD though. That's what I want. I will give my opinion on on certain stuff, on
battle rap
defense stuff,
life,
everything.
Okay.
You know, we'll touch from politics to everything. You know, because I just want people to kind of feel the real me. You know what I'm saying? To understand like where I come from and my background and why I believe in. You know, I feel like a lot of people actually see that I agree with them on a lot of things, and you know, and I think it's okay to disagree on certain stuff. So. Yeah, man, the podcast is definitely going to come. Be on the lookout for that.
We're counting down the top 10 best moments. And I'm sure there's millions that we could have put in here, but these are the 10 that we wanted to feature this week. And we're down to our last 3. The next one was hilarious because it came from a fan question. That I think we all thought, okay, this is just going to be a funny one. And then Rufus tells us that he actually had to wrestle an alligator in Louisiana.
Yeah, so a lot of the questions I just, we both pick them and talk about them beforehand, but I just, like you said, thought Rufus was just going to, I'd never done anything like that.
I ate an alligator.
And he just goes into his experiences with an alligator, and I think me and PJ's response just kind of says it all, and it's a meme and a GIF. If anything, but it was absolutely awesome.
Well, we should talk about that too, because your reaction, somebody isolated that.
KP Cash.
Yeah, and we got a picture, and so we'll have to pop up some of the other ones. People took the meme and ran with it.
I'm a meme every episode. You can find some form of me being a meme. I apologize and you're welcome.
Or is it Mimi? I don't know.
Either
know.
Way.
Yeah. How do they pronounce it at your school? Do you hear the kids?
Kids say memes.
Do they say GIF or GIF?
They say GIF. That annoys me. I think it's GIF, but I'm not sure.
Well, here's Rufus at number 3.
At Nathan_McCullen probably has the best question. Wants to know, growing up in Louisiana, did Rufus ever come close to getting attacked by an alligator?
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. Actually, the craziest thing is, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Walk this through this. We'll create a 3D visual. Brad Reed will hook that up.
Well,
Baguette catching your ass. And
me and my godfather, we were out fishing on a boat or whatever, and alligator he had a fish. Alligator got to it. I mean, we on the boat, so we over there. He reeling it in, and that sucker mouth came on the top of that, like right there on top of that boat. And I'm like, you figure it would pop the fishing line. That sucker just came up with the fish, right? And that sucker on top of the boat, and he's over there, and he grabbed the top part of the alligator's mouth. And I'm sitting in that bit like just mouth wide like this, so the mouth of it open. He slams it against the damn side of the boat. So the alligator can't open his mouth.
Because somebody up down here, right?
Yeah, so he has it holding it like this, and all you see is the damn tail just flashing back and forth. I'm sitting there, mouth wide, get me the damn gun! Get me the damn gun! So he got this little gun in the back, shot that sucker, bow, 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 pulled it back, threw it in the thing. He said, we done fishing. I was like, what the hell, we done fishing? Well, you got to be done fishing because you can't kill an alligator just like that, because you'll get a fine and you'll get put in, because you have to have a tag to kill an alligator.
Wow.
So, boom, took it, put it in the boat, got home, cleaned it, had some alligator later on that night.
How is alligator? It tastes amazing.
Awesome.
Really?
Good. Fried alligator, baby.
Who was it? You say your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle.
Remind me to stay on your uncle's good side.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, that man, that thing came up, and that man slammed the mouth of that thing and held it down. I was like, bruh, who would think of that?
Not me.
One, at that moment in time.
To be that focused in the moment. Yeah.
I mean, the alligator just came right up easy with the fishing line and everything, with the fish and everything, just bam, right on the top of that thing. And he just held down and said, grab the gun. And I'm over there about to panic and stuff. Yeah. This boat rocking like this and shit. Like, if we fall in the water, there's more alligators. My thinking is.
Worse.
So the damn boat rocking. So I grabbed him the gun and he just shot that sucker.
I've been fishing twice.
Yeah.
At number 2, this was a good one because if you watch the video, and if you haven't watched our videos, if you're just listening on we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, all kinds, but we do videos on YouTube and Facebook, and you'll want to watch this one just because the background was really cool.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
We were at Ryan Broyles' the porch, right?
Yeah.
And on the balcony there, you get to see the campus in the background. It was really nice. But Curtis and Rufus, or actually Curtis was talking about this story about him and
Ryan.
Rufus. Yeah,
it was about him and Rufus.
Right.
They gotten kicked out and they're working out in the indoor, and BV comes in and, what are you guys doing here? And he's just talking about all that. But we got into it on the pod about Curtis set the trend of getting kicked out and working out on his own because he was so good that they didn't want to kick him off the team, but Smitty was so tough on him that he wasn't going to make it through the workout. So it was just that awesome. Could have been number 1, but awesome segment.
And the reason I love it is because every time y'all do y'all's impersonations of the coaches, it just cracks me up.
Because it's spot on. Because we've been around them so much, and it's awesome. And I wasn't even a BV guy, but just the mannerisms. What are you guys doing here? The voice. That's just everything.
Check it out at number 2.
Hey, I think the funniest one day. Okay, so we going into the indoor to get ready to start our workout. So as soon as the DB group come off in there, somebody else is already working out. They doing the man ball tosses. As soon as we walk in there, he was like, okay, get a breakdown. We break it down. We like, okay, we about to work out. He looks at us. He goes, Dom, BJ, CC, Brett Bowers, Runnels. He was like, just pointed to the door. And we was just like, oh, man. Hey, everybody. So JD, we had to walk out like we was all sad. As soon as we walked out, we was like, man, I really didn't feel like working out anyway, man.
Yo, the most hated group by Smitty was the DBs. They were the first ones to fall off, first ones kicked out.
JD, we used to fall
Boys
off.
back in the weekend.
And we used to fall off during our warm-up stretch. We used to be like, okay, high knees.
Oh, so
Dom and BJ, get out. Y'all not going fast. We're like, we warming up. Like, how you kick us out 5 minutes into a workout? We was like, I'm going to call Coach Wright. Coach Wright, I got kicked out again for the summer, man.
For the summer.
He said, hey, man, just
Curtis started that.
Curtis had that
sickle cell.
That's why he left early.
Hey, he had that sickle cell, though, man.
Hey, I
sickle cell.
I remember I'm sitting there, I'm working out in the Barry Switzer. It's me, Zach, and Rufus. And the Barry Switzer, he kicked us all out. And so we like, man, hey, y'all, let's just get our own workout together. We don't need Smitty.
Yeah.
And so we in there, and Coach Venables got back from vacation, so he walks in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell are you guys doing in here? And I was like, we always like, well, Smitty kicked us out. And I was like, man, he kicked me out for no reason. Like, he just, he's like, no, Smitty does. Rufus, what's wrong with you? You're supposed to be the leader of the team. Why are you over here? And so then he's like, this is what's going to happen. You guys are going to go back, get in the 12 o'clock group. So I was like, man. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I'm gonna go sleep tonight. I'm gonna get my, rehydrolytes and my You got your little baby bottle with you today, Curtis? And I'm like, yeah, all right. Listen, hey, just tell me what I got to do for my workout. So sure, we get over there and we working out, and it probably lasted I'm getting to the end. Them abs where I always fell off. I'm throwing horrible. That ball was so hot, man. It was burning my hands. And I threw it probably 10, and then he threw it back, and it slipped out my hands, hit me in the face. Curtis, out. You're out. Get out of here.
Hey, that hurts. That get kicked out hurts.
I was like, forget you, Smitty.
We need like a drum roll on this one. I'll have to, yeah. All right, there we go. All right, this is the number one moment from Fullback U, which is the podcast you've been doing for about a year now. Mm-hmm. And this was probably episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
first 5 episodes.
Definitely.
Yeah, but Mike Stoops.
Yeah,
Mike Stoops came on. Amazing time with him, and I thought, and we both thought that the most impactful moment was just him talking about leaving and saying that nothing stays the same forever. Heartfelt moment.
The kids need a new beginning. I think they all need to start. Hopefully, they're all going to have to earn their way when somebody new comes in, and I think that'll be good for them.
Well, I mean this. I consider you all family. Family's not just there when you win. Family's not just there when you succeed. Family's not just there when it's convenient for them. We've been through a lot together. Even though this man, Aaron, some of the greatest compliments were one-liners that I got from him. Hey, you knocked shit out of people over there. Good job. I didn't even think he noticed me. I said it on my video. Only Coach, go ahead.
Scout team would be a lot happier I'm not around anymore. I think I was harder on the scout team players than anybody.
Yeah, Jackson Ewells actually commented on that. So I was hoping you would pick a fullback. But, Coach, you had so many. You had DGB at one point on scout team, Kyler Murray.
Baker Mayfield.
Shit.
So yeah, not an easy task.
Guys, it was because of me they became.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It's not Lincoln Riley. It was
Not at all.
me.
That's it. Oh, but and you laugh, but I got to tell the fans that the only reason I got put on varsity, one day we were doing inside drill and 4 running backs couldn't get a yard on your defense. 4 fullbacks we went through could not block a linebacker. They said, JD, you want to go try? I really didn't want to go try it, coach. But I used to have to hang. I went through 3 face masks my freshman year. I used to hang them up on my dorm wall. Jason Carter was my roommate who you brought in, and he, just all those things. But I mean, we were gonna miss you, Coach. Just like it, and I don't want to compare it to the year you left for K-State, but the family atmosphere you brought, the type of recruiter that you are, the love that your players have for you, the discipline that we are going to miss you. So I wish you the best in your future endeavors, Coach. You truly do deserve it. If anybody deserves that damn job, it's you. So best luck.
And it's a lot of great memories, and very fortunate to, like you said, be around so many great coaches and players. Being around Bob, experiencing with family, and then see it transition. There's nothing stays the same forever, and that's what you have to understand. But always be a big part and have I only have nothing but great, memories. There'll be some of these tough, things to swallow here at the end, but that's life. You got to learn from them, and hopefully it'll motivate me to be a great coach again.
That was number 1, Mike Stoops on the Fullback U podcast. JD, is there? He's obviously a great guest to have on, and at the time it was pretty groundbreaking to have him on. I feel like, because he got to tell his side of things. And you don't always get that chance. And so that's what I think is awesome about podcasts. But I was just kind of curious. Those are the top 10 moments so far. Any plans for the future? Anything that you've got in your head that you'd like to do?
Well, I think the big thing is, and you can see from our top 10, Brad, is that we have a variety of people. Mm-hmm. We have a variety of places that we've been, and I pride myself on giving, whether it be OU football players, whether it be certain OSU football players, whether it be coaches,
right,
high school coaches, local people. I pride myself on giving them a voice. We gave my brother a voice who just made it to another state tournament. Mike Dunn, we gave Coach, who just hired Bronson. We're in this circle of friends and people that I've been very close to. But again, I go back to, if people want to judge me off the amount of people that I have. Mm-hmm. I don't have to beg these people to come. I would if I did, but most people I ask and they come one time. And we've been fortunate to just the Mike Stoops who's coaching at Bama, Will Johnson who's now coaching at OU.
Right.
We've had Broyles on twice. Roy Williams, Superman, comes on constantly.
Yeah.
These names, those memories, this is what it's for. It's for you fans. It's for you to enjoy. But again, if you want to judge me and Brad, judge us off the visuals and the people that we're bringing on here, because we're bringing that fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, JD. I think this was a lot of fun showing off our moments so far, and a whole bunch of moments to come.
Absolutely. Fullback U.